Welcome back, dear viewers. Now it's time for our daily press review, and we are joined here in the studio with Dr. Khalid Rifat, the director of TIPA Center for Political Researches. Good morning.
Good morning to you, viewers.
And we start off from Al Watan newspaper, and we read the following headline: President Fattah al-Sisi receives Bahraini King. President Fattah al-Sisi meets on Tuesday with visiting Bahraini King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, who starts an official visit to Egypt on Tuesday. During summit talks, the two leaders are expected to discuss regional and international issues of mutual concern, as well as ways to boost cooperation between Egypt and Bahrain. During the visit, a number of cooperation agreements, memorandums of understanding will be signed between both countries in different fields. Earlier Monday, President al-Sisi received a phone call from Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, in which he congratulated President Sisi on the 34th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day. During the phone call, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed assured the UAE support to Egypt in order to achieve a comprehensive development. So first, what is the significance of the visit by Bahraini King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to Egypt on Tuesday?
I think the most important is economic one,
yes,
because right now we are going to very important issues. First one is how to defeat terrorism in the area.
Yes.
Because Bahrain suffered a lot from terrorism, especially Square and such on.
Yes.
Egypt suffering this now in Sinai Peninsula. And the economic cooperation between Egypt and Bahrain must take action, not only in talks and promises and so, but we need to sign agreements.
Yes.
We need to see numbers. We need to see numbers in field, not only in papers. So I expect some of memos of understanding and some of agreements, but the most important thing is to show to Iran that Egypt is standing by its Gulf allies, and we are in a real cooperation on all fields, military, economic, and social one, with Gulf states.
Yes. And we're moving to Al-Yom Al-Sabah newspaper, and we read the following headline: Egypt commemorates the 34th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day. Egypt commemorated on Monday the 34th anniversary of Sinai Liberation Day, which marks the 1982 withdrawal of Israeli occupation forces from Sinai. On this occasion, President Fattah al-Sisi congratulated the Egyptian people as hundreds of Egyptian citizens celebrated the occasion across Egypt. The citizens raised Egyptian flags and pictures of President Sisi. All public parks in Cairo offered free entry for visitors, marking the governorate celebrations of the anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day. More details about Sinai Liberation Day in the following report.
Egypt marked on Monday the 34th anniversary of the Sinai Liberation Day. Marking the occasion, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the nation. In his address, President al-Sisi said that Egypt acknowledges and appreciates the sacrifices made by members of both the police and the army, stressing that the armed forces would not give away any part of the country. The head of the state added that the terrorism is declining in the Sinai Peninsula, noting that development would begin in the part of the country. President al-Sisi also vowed that Egypt would not accept any threat to its national security. Touching on other issues of concern to the citizens, the president said that the army was exerting its utmost efforts to curb hiking prices. He added that he had given his directives to the government to look into ways to deal with inflation and a hike in prices with the aim of protecting the low-income brackets. Earlier on Sunday, President al-Sisi, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, laid a wreath on the memorial of the unknown soldier to mark the occasion.
Welcome back. Now, Dr. Khalid, we are talking about Sinai Liberation Day and how Egyptian people celebrated this event yesterday. How did you follow up the celebrations? And also, we want to focus on the Interior Ministry decision to release 859 prisoners on this occasion. How do you see this move?
I see it was the biggest celebration we have
Yes.
ever had.
Yes.
We never have celebration like this. People in the streets celebrating,
Yes.
songs everywhere. You got air shows in Tahrir, you got
Yes.
air shows all over Cairo. You got naval shows also in Alexandria. You got naval shows in Nile River too. So it was a big celebration. Everybody was happy. Everybody was feeling safe, secure. Everybody didn't listen at all to all this. I don't know, terrorists or whatever you name it.
Yes.
So very minority people say, we will. At the time of action, they never show up.
Yes.
They are just speaking phenomena over the Facebook, over the Twitter,
Yes.
over all social media. But in the real world, in the streets, in the field,
Egyptians expressed real trust in President Fattah el-Sisi yesterday.
Egyptians trust in President Fattah el-Sisi. The Egyptians are fed up with the world revolution right now. We are not able to go through all this crap again for another 5 years of echoes and destruction all over Egypt. It's very hard for us to suffer all this again.
Yes.
So Egyptians now are going in the right direction. We know that our president is taking the lead of Egyptian now. He is a man of vision. He knows exactly what he's doing, and we are supporting him. This president was elected by 98% in a free election.
Yes.
Election. And now we have a constitution, we have a parliament, house of parliament, and we have a president. So why you go to the streets? Why you need this for?
Yes.
So Egyptians go to the streets only to celebrate. And this was a real good day. The other point you mentioned is the release of a presidential pardon of 800 something,
Yes.
they said.
Yes.
800 something. Those people,
159.
859, those are not convicted in any terrorism. So they spent half of their period there in jails, and they are eligible to go out.
Yes.
So this is a very good,
Good move, yes.
move, yeah, needed.
Okay, and still with Al-Yom As-Sabah newspaper, and with the following headline: volume of investments in Sinai reaches 3.84 billion pounds. Sinai Development Authority announced on Monday that the volume of investments in Sinai reached 3.84 billion pounds in the first half of the fiscal year 2015-2016. The SDA said that the investments of the government and economic bodies implemented in Sinai reached 3 billion and 841 million pounds in 6 months. The SDA pointed out that it established the National Company for Sinai Investments with a capital of 10 billion pounds. Sinai has been witnessing increased activity in investments in all fields, which reflects the state continues to implement several projects. The program includes the establishment of a free economic zone, 17 housing communities, and 13 agricultural communities, in addition to providing the necessary water for irrigation. So, to what extent the development of Sinai is very important at this stage and is considered a means of fighting terrorism?
Yes, this is the best way to fight terrorism.
Yes.
Is to settle people there and to develop the area. Empty areas are the best fields for terrorists.
Yes.
But who gonna fight the terrorist? People in the area, because they know who is stranger and who is
Yes.
inhabitant. So the best way to fight terrorism is to go on development. I'm very happy for what you said now, that they established a company for 10 billion pounds, right?
Yes.
10 billion pounds.
National Company for Sinai Investments.
For the
10 billion
capital was 10 billion,
pounds.
10
Yes.
billion pounds, which is a huge number. I never heard about this number and established any company in Egypt before.
Yes.
So this is a huge step toward development of Sinai. You said too that there are going to be 17 housing community and 13 agricultural community. This is the right way to go. I'm not going to just put people there with new jobs, so these people are going to come back to the valley.
Yes.
The best thing to do is to put people there and guarantee their works, their jobs.
Yes.
So you're going to go in parallel, housings and agriculture at the same time. I think you said there's 3 free zones, right?
Yes.
Three free zones.
Yes.
This is going to make a big boost in development in Sinai.
Yes.
This is good news, really.
And housing communities and agriculture communities.
All goes in parallel.
Yes. Okay, and moving to Al Watan newspaper, and we read EU ambassador in Egypt meets Minister of Irrigation. The European Union ambassador in Cairo, James Moran, stressed on Monday the Union's commitment to support the water sector in Egypt through a number of projects funded by grants from the European Union. During his meeting with the Minister of Irrigation, Dr. Muhammad Abdelati, Moran said that the most important of these projects is the National Water Resources Plan. For his part, the Minister of Irrigation praised the EU's support for training and developing those working in the water sector in Egypt through training and scholarships in this field. Earlier, the European Union announced pumping a grant of 200 million euros for the water sector in Egypt. So, the importance of developing water projects at this stage.
It's very important.
Yes.
Right now we are talking about a recommendation of 1.5
Yes.
million Fridans right now. We need water for
Yes.
these areas. But I gotta go back and repeat what I said about Bahraini visit. I don't care about talks, care about promises. I care if this goes to agreements and goes. Those guys, the European guys must pump monies to our economy because we need money now. We need investments. We need projects. We don't need talks. We don't need whatever he promises. I don't need it right now. This is what the cause. Personally, I suspect all promises coming from EU and US right now. The only people that they fulfill their promises are the Gulf people, for real right now. But the Americans and the Europeans just talk with no action. In the two. So I'm waiting the results.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say, wow, this is good. I'm gonna think, oh, let's see, wait and see.
And moving to Al Masri Al-Yom newspaper, and we read the Agriculture Minister meets Bulgaria's ambassador. Minister of Agriculture Dr. Assam Faid met on Monday with Bulgarian ambassador in Cairo, Roman Petrov. During the meeting, they discussed ways of cooperation between the two countries in the field of agriculture and food. The Minister of Agriculture stressed the depth of relations between the two countries in the agriculture field, especially in livestock and poultry, agriculture, under greenhouses, water management, and cotton technology research. So, sir, the significance of this meeting, how do you see it?
I see it's very, very good step because Bulgaria is very, very advanced in the green area, and because Bulgaria, every inch of Bulgaria is accredited. Every inch there is no desert.
Yeah.
So we need their experience. We need their support in training our farmers how to go through the greenhouses.
Okay, moving to Al-Yom As-Saba newspaper, and we read Japanese tourists visit Karnak Temple in Luxor. The Japanese tourists who arrived on their first direct flight from Osaka Airport to Luxor International Airport continued their tours in the pharaonic sites in the Karnak Temple in Luxor. Chief Inspector of Karnak Temple said that 230 Japanese tourists were present at the temple for more than an hour and a half. He was accompanied by tourist guides in Luxor to explain the full pharaonic history amid the happiness of tourists who coexist among the antiquities of ancient Egypt. Earlier, the Luxor International Airport received the first direct flight from Japan to Luxor after a 5-year stop, carrying 230 Japanese tourists. So now it's good news about
This is a good news,
the
and
arrival
this
of
is
tourism.
it's action, not promises. I'm very happy with this
Yes.
because you remember in 2010
Yes.
we got 14 million tourists and we
Yes.
got 10 billion in dollars in money. Right now we are trying to revive again the tourism in Egypt, and I hope we're going east now. We're going to China, going to Japan,
Yes.
Korea, and so on. I hope that this they're gonna revive the tourism, especially Luxor, because the people of Luxor and Aswan are suffering very, very, very much right now, because this is the only way of living down there.
Yes.
The good news is we expect to have one flight weekly from Osaka direct to Luxor,
Yes.
and we're gonna start as a beginning, and I hope it goes to be 2 or 3 and 4 and so on again, hopefully very soon.
We hope so. And then moving to Al-Wafd newspaper, and we read the following headline, and Yemen government forces retake key port city from Al-Qaeda. Yemeni pro-government troops recaptured a key port city from Al-Qaeda militants who held it for a year in what a Saudi-led coalition hailed Monday as a major victory. The assault on the southeastern city of Mukalla was part of a wider counter-offensive against the extremists launched by pro-government forces last month, after a year in which they had focused their firepower on Houthi militia who control the capital. And more details about the situation in Yemen in the coming report.
Saudi government forces and their Emirati allies took back control of the country's largest oil export terminal from Al-Qada on Monday, a day after routing the militants from their nearby stronghold. The lightning advance is a shift in strategy for the Arab coalition forces, which for over a year have focused their firepower on the Iran-allied Houthis, who had seized the capital Sana'a and driven the government into exile. A fragile ceasefire, part of a UN-sponsored push for peace talks between the Houthis and President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi's government in Kuwait, has been in force since April 10th. The UN Security Council had asked Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on Monday to submit a plan within 30 days detailing how his Yemeni envoy can help the move toward peace. In 48 hours, the Arab coalition has deprived the militants of a mini-state they have built up over the course of a year based around the southern western city of Mukla.
Okay, Dr. Khalid, now we are talking about the situation in Yemen, and as you know that the government and the Houthi delegation holding peace talks in Kuwait, and that came after you as President Barack Obama called for a negotiated settlement that would enable the two sides to turn their attention on Al-Qaeda. So do you expect an agreement to be reached soon?
Not soon. I expect an agreement, but not soon, because it's going to take some time. Right now, the U.S. is going down by itself. The drones bombed Al-Qaeda with U.S. drones, first of all, and Saudi. So U.S. right now are pushing toward agreement. They're pushing in negotiation on the negotiation table in Kuwait, and at the same time, they are pushing in the field by bombing Al-Qaeda. I expect agreement, as anywhere all over the world, ends with a negotiation, but not soon. I'm going to take another 1 year.
Okay, Dr. Khalid Rifat, the Director of TIPA Center for Political Research. Thank you for being with us today.
Welcome.
Now, dear viewers, we'll go for a short break and resume the breakfast show, so stay tuned.